Welcome to Giap's next challenger. This game is going to be Giap versus Paul. Both of these players are tournament finalists in my series of tournaments. Neither of them has won one of my tournaments yet, unfortunately for them. But they're going to have a go at each other here. Paul, the finalist from Starcross Cup 2, up against Giap, the finalist from Starcross Cup 3. We're going to see Giap playing as Oster on the left side of Faymanville approach against Paul's U.S. Forces Rifle Company, immediately chosen. Rear echelon troops going straight for the house. Giap throwing up his tier 1, getting himself some grenadiers and pilots are going to take control of this cutoff. Rear echelons leave the building and make their way over here towards the left to start throwing down some barbed wire to block this avenue of approach. Oh yeah, their positions are wrong. Well, I guess that's okay as long as they use the same positions in game 2. I don't want to make them restart now. I didn't realize until they've already been going for 3 minutes. Oh well. Riflemen moving to take control of the building right here. Barbed wire has been thrown down. Grenadiers are going to leap the wall. Riflemen take control of the structure. And barbed wire continues to get thrown down by Paul here, blocking this avenue of approach. Grenadiers should, I think, maybe slowly win against Riflemen from this position. 3 Riflemen are currently shooting at them. All 4 Grenadiers firing back at the Riflemen in return. Actually, since that Grenadier just sidestepped a little bit, now these 2 windows can shoot at him as well. So he should try and bunch up as tightly as he can on the right side of that truck to maximize his efficiency in this engagement. Now he's losing. Now he's definitely losing that. Rear echelon troops move to take control of this cutoff, and a rifle squad makes its way towards the fuel point. Trying to engage against those pyos at range for a little while here. Making its way towards the munitions so he can flank the pyos in their green cover position and start dealing a little bit more damage to them. MG42 on the field is going to move to do a little bit extra damage to those riflemen. More grenadiers firing from a position in green cover here as well, and the engagement for this building will definitely be lost for Paul as he's deployed a lot of forces elsewhere and doesn't have anything nearby to support. Those riflemen can no longer stall in this building and will be forced to retreat very soon. He should really get that squad out of there. Is he really not paying any attention to this? Paul loses a squad of riflemen in that building. Just left it in there, and they will go down. Not a very good start for Paul here. Giap gets a free wipe right at the very beginning of the game. Rear echelon troops taking control of the munitions right there. Riflemen taking control of the northeast victory point. This squad of riflemen jumping into green cover here. Will be forced to engage for a little while here from position in green cover. Bringing those grenadiers dangerously low, but I don't think there's any real danger of them getting wiped here by a suppressed squad. MG42 should be able to keep them suppressed. Paul's probably going to end up being forced to retreat from this particular engagement. These riflemen moving to engage here on this cutoff. And rear echelon troops moving to grab control of this strategic point as well. Grenadiers firing from position at close range. Actually do manage to drop 2 riflemen before retreating. MG42 set up cover this particular angle, should be able to force a retreat from those rear echelon troops. Riflemen moving to grab the cutoff. Rear echelon troops need to vault this fence, try and get behind that MG42 if possible. The second MG42 is currently set up here on the south munitions, and it looks like the map is pretty much split in half. Lieutenant on the field for Paul, and the utility car is next. Probably going to start fielding additional riflemen after the M20 hits the field. Wounded Grenadiers moving to take control of some territory here in the back. On MG42 will easily shut down this push by the lieutenant for the south. Although there is another squad available in the general area to support here, the lieutenant's just going to have to retreat because he walked right into that MG42. Rear echelon troops secure control of this building. We'll get a little bit of vision of everything over there, jump back out of the building. Also, since machine guns can't vault, this barbed wire is actually kind of a serious problem for those MGs, at least for now. Flamethrower will be able to force riflemen from this building, though, and an M20 is hitting the field at pretty much the same time as the 221. 221 is going to come out and be able to crush these barbed wire obstacles, and also, if upgraded with the 222, give Giap the tool he needs to take out this utility car. Armor skirts just completed. MG42 will be forced to retreat from the south, and the lieutenant is making his way back down there. Another veteran rifle squad has been deployed as well. Barbed wire destroyed by the 221. Its 222 upgrade is currently in progress. This machine gun does not have any veterancy for armor-piercing rounds. Paul is going to actually pull away from this engagement and stick here with his lieutenant. 50 cal doing pretty good damage to that scout car, at least initially. There's the 222 upgrade to start damaging Paul's scout car slightly. Gonna have to pull that to a slightly more defensive location. Lieutenant will get the fuel decapped, and these two squads of riflemen going in on the grenadiers here on the north munitions. Lieutenant's probably going to be forced to retreat from autocannon fire pretty soon. Falling pretty low right there, will get suppressed by MG42 fire. Can't get that fuel captured without risking his lieutenant squad. There's the retreat. Bazooka jumps out of the scout car, take a shot at the 222. Shot connects, but it looks like it had just enough health to survive that. Will get to safety. Rear echelon troops get inside of the utility car here, and it looks like it's going to try and hunt down that 222. Or not, just gonna stay here and try and bleed these grenadiers. Doesn't want to eat a Panzerfaust if you can avoid it. And rear echelon troops inside of a utility car cannot repair critical. Nice flank by these riflemen on that MG. This one moves a little bit to try and protect the flank. I'm not sure if it has line of sight on that rifle squad from right there though. Looks like it does. Should be able to get those riflemen suppressed. Scout car pulls back for some repairs right there. This MG42 is going to turn to fire on some riflemen, and the south fuel will be reconnected to Giap. Meanwhile, rifles in the north get the munitions, various strategic points under control. This point is still uncontested, but everything else has been taken by Paul. He has a pretty good map control situation going. In particular, holding both of the munitions points puts him at almost double his opponent's munitions income, which is going to make LMG and healing and other upgrades a little expensive, a little bit slow. No healing yet, as he just dropped a bunch of munitions on something. I don't know what it was, but never mind. He has his munitions back. He canceled whatever it was. Ambulance on the field for Paul. Should be able to get some of his riflemen healed up. He's not quite at 3 CPs yet, so no flamethrowers, but once those flamethrowers start being fielded, it's going to get even harder for Giap to hold the line, and he's already struggling a little bit, despite the fact that Paul threw a rifle squad away for no reason at the very beginning of the game. Even after that, Giap is having trouble taking control of this map. Rifleman taking control of the cutoff right here, and Lieutenant inside the building engaging against the machine gun right there. Squad will be forced to retreat though. There is a bazooka set up in green cover here for this. Gets one shot off on the 222 there with that bazooka hit. And there is an AT gun on the field now to try and counter the M20 should it reveal itself. Still needs to crew it down there. Should probably not leave it decrewed for too long if he can avoid it. Doesn't want to get sniped with a rifle grenade or something like that. Riflemen jump into a green cover position here by the machine gun in the house, and they are upgrading with a flamethrower right now. Once that completes, that machine gun will go down very quickly. It's already at quite low health. Flamethrower apparently can't fire on the building though. Only these three models can. The flamethrower doesn't have a line. The squad's just going to retreat away from a rifle grenade right there. Nice dodge.
Squad, get ready.
This squad with the flamethrower gets a pretty healthy amount of damage off on that machine gun and will move to take building control. There's not really anything that Giap can do to push that squad out of this house other than try and brute force it out with as much damage as possible. Fortunately, no flame crits in this engagement and everything is pretty much getting away to safety. Here in the south, flamethrower piles and grenadiers are getting control of the munitions. Riflemen will retreat out of that engagement and grenadiers are going to start trying to take back a little bit of territory here in the north. Giap has gone mechanized assault, by the way, and will have access to the Stug E pretty soon. Paul is going captain tier. Interesting, going captain tier instead of straight to major. I guess he doesn't think that his fuel control is good enough to justify going straight to major, and he's just going to try and counter the Stug E preemptively. He doesn't see his opponent's commander selection yet, I don't think. He hasn't fielded any assault grenadiers or anything in the assault group. So he's just assuming that his opponent might go Stug E. Is going to counter it preemptively. He definitely did see mechanized assault in his opponent's loadout. There was no close air support, so he's definitely making the right call here, I think. Since it doesn't look like he was going to be able to get a Sherman out in time. And he doesn't want to be left too vulnerable to the Stug E when it arrives. Although it looks like he's actually not going captain tier necessarily for the counter to the Stug E possibility, but because he wants a pack howitzer to try and crack his opponent's defense. So let's see if that decision works out for him. That's actually a little bit of a dose of non-meta. A little bit of a dose of non-meta there for Paul. Captain jumps inside this building to push that scout car away. We'll leave the building taking damage pretty much needlessly right there in that engagement. This rifle squad is quite wounded, but we'll be able to get control of the south victory point unopposed. This rifle squad moves up into this green cover position to engage against the machine gun in the house, and will force it to reposition to safety. These two grenadiers engaging the riflemen from range here. Bringing the squad low, riflemen will vault the wall and jump into the building. M20 hovering in the general area. The 222 also receiving some repairs. Flamethrower is available outside the building to force those riflemen away. And the pack howitzer, wow, that was a good opening pack howitzer shot. Pack howitzer is positioned here, gets a great shot on that flamethrower and forces an immediate retreat. Riflemen, however, are also forced to retreat. AT gun does connect with the M20 right there. The M20 pops smoke to get to safety. Riflemen moving up from the north flank are going to have to retreat from massed grenadiers engagement that we definitely cannot win. Lieutenant has to retreat from an engagement in this area. Pack howitzer is going to bombard these machine guns to try and force them away, try and open up opportunities for some of Paul's infantry on this flank. So far, it doesn't look like Paul is succeeding in breaking through anywhere, but since his opponent is pushed almost completely off the map, that shouldn't be too big of a deal. This isn't really enough map control to survive as Oster. He needs to grab maybe one or two more strategic points and definitely a munitions point. Ooh, that was a bit of a misplay by Paul, though. AT gun set up perfectly for that peek. M20 chose to peek without fully repairing and gets one-shotted right there. Here comes the Stug. Stug E on the field to try and punish Paul's rifle company decision. His decision to go pack howitzer means he has no AT gun, but there's a decent amount of manpower afloat. Plus, he has the bazookas from the captain, so and a bazooka on his vehicle crew. So he's got 3 bazookas, anti-tank rifle grenades, and the potential for AT guns. He should be at least able to manage this threat. Giap should be able to utilize it to get a little bit more map control, utilizing the assault gun to push and attack. Get territory under his control. Rifle blob in the north wipes the grenadier squad low. Nice pickup by Paul, and Stug is not available for an engagement in the north. These grenadiers are completely undefended against this flamethrower blob. Yeah, sure. I didn't realize it was so loud. It's like not that loud for me. Sorry about that.
All right, you dopes, listen up. Squad is back to full strength. Here it comes.
We're vehicle crew moving to take control of the munitions right there before moving to take control of the victory point next. The rifle blob is making its way towards the middle there. A little clumped for that Stug. Oh, okay, first shot off target, fortunately for Paul. Wow, second shot was perfect, though. Second shot was perfect. White phosphorus being deployed in this area to try to put pressure on team weapons or maybe to prevent the Stug from firing. Lieutenant in the building needs to retreat as well. Pack howitzer firing. He's going to reposition a little bit, or no, turn to fire on the flamethrower pyros here in the south. A couple of squads reinforcing and healing here in the base, and Paul is going to queue up 2 AT guns to counter the Stugi. Definitely not regretting his decision to go captain now, and he will have the fuel for an easy 8 already, and
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
just needs to get up to 3 CPs. He needs to field that. He's probably going to need to get out at least 2 before his opponent's first Tiger arrives. And probably want to try to delay his opponent's Tiger by seizing as much fuel control as he possibly can.
Smoke screen to blind the enemy.
They're cooked!
Anti-tank gun, ready for action.
Bazooka vehicle crew forced to retreat from the north from a Gren blob. Sort of. Just 2 Grenadier squads actually, and a Minesweeper. Getting control of all territory there in the north, and it looks like Paul's push for the south has pretty much failed. Stugi convinces all of Paul's infantry to retreat. AT guns set up protecting against this particular approach, and Pack Howitzer is available to put pressure on some team weapons maybe, but other than that,
Make sure your grenade safety clips are off.
looks like Giap is taking a lot of map control back. He does have 3 MG42s. Like I said before, he goes very heavy into MG42s compared to most Oster players. Somehow he manages to keep them alive, even against Rifle Company. Paul does have access to grenades, but I haven't seen him toss any yet.
You remember Italy?
A capture point is being overrun.
We're getting plastered over here!
Flamethrower firing on these Grenadiers here in the north. Tellar mine gets interrupted or spotted there by these riflemen. Gonna cancel that. Put that down in a different position. Panzer Grenadiers being queued up. And it's pretty much too late to stop Giap from getting to a Tiger. His map control is extremely good right now. So even with that Stug on the field, he will make it to Tiger, and Paul is getting slowly boxed into his base. But at least he has these 2 AT guns out to counter armor when it does arrive. American AT guns aren't great, but with 2 of them out, you can generally at least manage the threat of a Tiger, in addition to bazookas and rifle grenades and so on. These riflemen are making a frontal assault into a machine gun and Stug E. The AT guns will move up to try and take shots. One more shot. Does connect, and the Stugi is destroyed. Double AT gun gets the job done perfectly. Stuggy goes down. And now Giap will have to decide if he wants to drop another 75 fuel on another Stugi or just wait till Tiger. He's still 2 CPs away, so he's going to have to think about it carefully. He's probably going to lose some map control as a result of that loss. A lot of infantry making their way back to the front line. Follow up on this. Rifleman and Lieutenant taking control of all buildings in this area, and Giap is going to make an almost full retreat back into his base. He does have an MG42 pointed at the fuel right here. The Lieutenant deploys smoke. He could probably overwhelm that position. Captain moving to take control of this. Bazooka moving to take control of the munitions here in the north. White phosphorus deployed on the machine gun right there, in addition to a pack howitzer shot. Almost wipes the gun. Grenade toss on the MG42 here in the south will prompt it to reposition but not retreat. Lieutenant is going to retreat, and Riflemen are simply going to take control of the strategic point for now while the pack howitzer grabs the munitions. Ooh, huge pack howitzer shit. Huge pack howitzer hit. Pack howitzer shit. On those Panzer Grenadiers, they will be forced to retreat, and the Riflemen move up to fire their flamethrower at that machine gun. They could have probably wiped it with a frag, but don't opt to do so.
Tank support is here.
And Giap is getting slowly pushed off the map here in the south. Easy 8 is on the field as well to apply pressure here in the middle.
We're on the hook over here! Enemy contact!
WPM-110 smoke strike can be delivered to cover our men. Security.
Vehicle crew will retreat. Minesweeper here in the north getting a little harassment done, and Paul is getting huge map control right now. A lot of map control, and Giap has decided to go with a fresh Stug, but the AT guns get a huge volley off on the scout car, gets abandoned. Bit of a lucky break right there. They will destroy it and get a hit off on the Stug E. The EZ8 could be a pretty serious threat to that Stug if it gets vision or gets in range. Fortunately, there is an AT gun available to counter. No white phosphorus for Paul just yet. Needs another 50 or so munitions. EZ8's going to pull back to safety. Riflemen want to try and get the victory point captured before they make a retreat. AT guns, satisfied with sniping that scout car, going to pull back to the center of the map as well and hover around this EZ8. The Tiger will not actually really be that delayed at all by Giap's decision to field a second Stug because he had such good map control earlier. He had quite a decent amount of fuel reserves, but his fuel control has completely disappeared. All of his income pretty much evaporated, and he will be taking up to Tiger pretty much at about the same time he gets to 11 CPs, just barely.
Sherman, ready for action. All done over here. That was you got it. Get ready. A capture point is under attack. 50 cals up.
Lieutenant jumps into this building to provide vision for the pack howitzer, which moves up into a slightly more aggressive location. He's going to start taking shots at this Panzer Grenadier squad. Rifle grenade on that Rifleman squad forces a retreat. Stug E taking shots at the building will slowly try to destroy it. It's going to take a little time. Minesweeper taking territory here in the north. Grenadiers taking control of the fuel and strategic point back here in the middle / left. Pack howitzer shot looks like it's a little off target, and the lieutenant's going to have to get out of that building very soon. Gets out on the wrong side. Almost gets wiped. Gets away quite narrowly.
Promotion just came in.
All right.
Knock it off. 1942. Spread out.
Captain jumps the wall, take up position inside of this building, maybe get a little bit of bazooka damage off on that Stug, which got a little close to the house. Panzer Grenadiers push the EZ8 back ever so slightly. They're going to have to retreat. Stug looks like it's just outside of bazooka range and will continue to put pressure on that structure. The captain cannot stay in there for long. That building will go down very soon. Any second, get that captain out of that house. And the structure comes tumbling down. Captain gets out with only 2 models remaining, and a lot of Paul's infantry is going to retreat from this area. The EZ8 is going to move up with AT gun support to try and take out that Stug. One sets up, both set up, taking shots at the Stug, bringing it down very quick. Both of those shots connect. EZ8 shot misses. Fortunately, that Stug looks like it's going to get away by a hair. And there's the Tiger. AT guns are positioned perfectly for that Tiger's advance, though. I don't really anticipate the Tiger doing all that well if it makes a frontal assault against an EZ8 and 2 AT guns. If Paul throws armor-piercing rounds on these, which he does have the munitions to do, Tiger may struggle. He's not going to use armor-piercing rounds, and all shots thus far will bounce. And in fact, he's just going to drop white phosphorus to force Giap back into his base and keep this triple cap going. Also everything to retreat and wait for that white phosphorus to clear, while Paul works on building up this defensive line, maybe repairs that EZ8, waits for his next EZ8 to come in, gets control back here in the north against this Minesweeper pilot squad. Currently, if Paul does not lose control of this battlefield, he will be looking at a 333 victory point victory as allies in Game 1. But of course, the game's not even close to over. With that Tiger on the field, it is a very serious threat Paul's going to have to deal with, and he's probably going to need a second tank to do so. He will catch that Tiger with its rear armor exposed a little bit right there, getting a shot off. EZ8 can't chase too aggressively, though, into Panzer Grenadiers, potential of Panzer Fausters, and AT guns sitting up right there. EZ8's going to have to try and pull back to safety. Pack howitzer bleeds that machine gun slightly. These riflemen look like they're going to get suppressed. The Tiger is moving up with a huge blob of infantry support. EZ8 is pulling back to safety. This AT gun got cleared and is going to be destroyed. Tiger looks like it might even charge the base if this AT gun also gets cleared. Oh no. He had 2 AT guns, now he doesn't have any AT guns, and that Tiger hasn't even taken a scratch. That EZ8 looks like it's probably going to go down here. It's not really kiting at all. Ambulance also destroyed, and the game is completely out of Paul's control. He's lost all anti-tank weapons that he had on this battlefield. There may not be anything he can do here. could not have been more ill prepared for that engagement. Probably not have handled it worse, with all of his supporting riflemen not available to damage that Tiger's engine with its overly aggressive push, all of his anti-tank weaponry unprotected, caught out of position, cleared immediately. Easy 8 stood no chance, and Giap will easily take that engagement. Tiger barely sustaining a scratch of damage, and there may not be anything Paul can do to recover this game. He feels this Easy 8, he absolutely has to make something amazing happen with this tank, or he is probably not going to be able to win this. White phosphorus being deployed in this area to try to force repositioning and retreating from the various team weapons in this area, including all anti-tank weaponry. The Easy 8 is coming close to destroying that Tiger. Bazooka shots are not penetrating. Easy 8 gets one shot through the white phosphorus, which also does not penetrate. AT gun sets up to fire at the Easy 8. And there it is. The Easy 8 is destroyed by that AT gun shot, and I don't think there's anything Paul's going to be able to do to win this game from the look of things. Tiger will get to safety. Stug E is going to shut down this push by these infantry squads. AT gun gets cleared, but I don't think it's going to get stolen. Riflemen are suppressed, so they cannot crew the weapon. Will be forced to retreat under Stug E fire.
HMG! Get down!
And Paul is reduced to nothing but a one-man captain, 2 rifles, pack howitzer, and a lieutenant against Giap's very healthy infantry and tank army.
The enemy is overrunning.
And there you have it. I thought Paul had a good chance in that game, but that Tiger just overwhelmed him, caught all of his critical units out of position, and they all just got wiped like that. Giap executed perfectly in that final engagement and snatched the game out of Paul's hands. 139-point victory as Axis in Game 1. Let's see if Paul can recover the series in Game 2.